It's a tool used within the school for parents and students to go onto the computer and you can access your students' grades at any time. And basically, the way it works for the parents is to see what's happening on a daily basis almost. You don't have to be in contact with teachers. Same with students.
Did you want to address the board?
I'm just trying to answer his question because nobody was, and it seems a little frustrating. I'm sorry?
If you want to come forward, then everybody can hear. Excuse me, Mr. Sarnes. Mr. Sarnes.
Mr. Neely, I think I could answer your question simply. We did discuss this in the Finance Committee meeting, and Ms. Johnson, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we're saving money going through, aren't we? I mean, this less than, we were doing it in-house.
I don't know if we're saving money, but what we're doing is we've actually moved the servers and we've outsourced it to the Government Lehigh IU to take care of all our updates, upgrades, and to take care of our server. Similar to the same thing that we've done with all our other major systems, if you will. We have them off-site, we don't have them in-house.
Plus, they are aren't they the certified Power School expert in the whole state, I believe?
Right.
Yes, so that's why we're using them.
That's fine, I thank you for the explanation.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am?
A question and a quick comment.
I'm going to ask you to speak up.
I'm sorry. Question and quick comment. The summit meeting, you said in January, who will be sending out emails? Will Mr. Thompson, will you still be? Okay. But Mr. Thompson, will you still be handling the meeting?
I'll be handling it, but I will be involved.
Okay. And just a comment to, in regard to your comments there and, you know, what you were saying about the standardized testing, that I've always been in agreement that I'm not a fan of standardized testing for our students. I don't, but we're at a point where we have no choice but to do it, unfortunately. And I agree with what you're saying and what, you know, this gentleman had said to you. And I've really found that out this year. My son that just graduated, he's a freshman in college. He was the start of standardized testing, basically. And what I'm seeing is that there's so much emphasis put on that, unfortunately, and it's basically regurgitation of facts that we're pushing with our children and spending so much time on, not application. And that's what these kids now are finding when they get to college, that's the big challenge, that they've always had to regurgitate facts in here, be it in just their curriculum or for standardized testing. And application is what college is about, and it's a huge adjustment for these kids. And I agree that something has to be done. I mean, within this small room, I'm sure there's many of us that would like to see that changed, but, you know, that is definitely something that the community needs to get involved with and this, you know, push on the state because something has to change with that. So.
Before you leave the podium, would you please clearly state your name?
Oh, I'm sorry,
The
Suzette
secretary
Schmidt.
to get you down. We have to report
Ferguson.
you. Right?
Okay.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Jay Cantor, Hilltown Township. There was a lot of discussion on the finance agenda, items F and G, and I'm just looking for clarification on what was the outcome. Are we tabling it, bringing it back to committee? They both passed. And one other question on section F, Personnel Committee. All I heard was that the next meeting is in January, but heard nothing about 1 through 3.
Let me turn to that. What's your question?
Section F, Personnel Committee. There were 3 motions on there, and I didn't hear anything about it. And I never left the room.
We took items number 1 and 2 and passed them as one motion. And then we took number 3 as the second motion.
So all 3 items passed.
All 3 of those areas were passed.
I never, and was it unanimous? All 3?
We can get,
I don't, I'm telling you, I never left the room, and I never heard a vote.
I think we do. Yes, thank you.
I'm Christine Maiden from East Rock Hill Township.
If I understand it correctly, you have approved the trip to Disney, but I haven't heard that you've approved the contract. So my question is, a lot of us parents have already paid the high school $700. Do we continue to make payments? And will we be refunded the money if the contract is not approved?
Are you with the band or the cheerleaders?
Does it matter?
Yeah, they have two separate contracts.
With the band?
That trip was approved back in September and
May.
or I'm sorry, May.
Well, then, why did it come up tonight as far as a motion to approve the Bright Spark Travel Agency?
This was the agreement tonight.
This is the contract. We approved the activity in the activities committee, whether or not we will sponsor that as a Penn Ridge activity. And then in the finance committee, because we have to pay the vendors that provide the transportation and lodging and maybe food or whatever, those contracts for vendors are approved at the finance committee.
Okay.
So there's a slight difference. It's, yes, you can go, now let us see your vendor contract so that we can collect your money and then have a contract to allow us to disperse the money to that vendor.
So the contract has not been,
No, it's been approved. We voted yes on it.
okay.
Pending.
Yeah, pending the legal.
And the belief is that it can be done. The belief is that it's.
And when will we as parents know
He
whether
said he had
the
to
legal,
work out some details with the vendor.
when will we as parents know whether the legal speak is approved?
That's gonna all work out. We're pretty sure this thing is gonna go okay. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
That's not the question. Mrs.
To know
Herring.
when.
Good evening, Diane Herring, Hilltown Township. Reference item F that you approved this evening on the Finance Committee, the contract for the custom color guard choreography. Again, I stand here throwing egg, and I apologize in advance, but this contract was delivered in August, and we're doing it again. We're approving contracts months and months afterwards. But this one is of specific interest because I, as a parent, have not contributed to offset this expense, yet you have just informed me, as a parent, I must now do that, if I'm understanding that correctly. Or is someone going to tell me that you've collected money from everyone but my kid?
You're talking about item F? under-
Item F, sir. Yes,
Item
sir.
F.
Yes, sir.
Unproductive.
Yes, sir.
We'll take that and get an answer back to you. I can't answer you tonight. I don't know that anybody here can answer that specific question, okay?
You can't tell me which group of parents is going to be paying for
I
this?
think I just said that.
I just want to go on record. You can't tell me which group of parents are going to be paying for it.
I cannot,
Okay.
and I will get back to you.
You voted on it. Okay.
Anybody else?
All right. Well, I ended up not having, I'm Sandy Vogel, by the way, and I'm from Sellersville, and I'm the student representative to the school board. And I ended up not having much to say during the meeting. The one point when I was possibly raising my hand, I wasn't sure if I wanted to say anything about it before the meeting started. And I just wanted to clarify that you'd approved the trip and then the contract. I realize they're kind of separate things, the pre-approval and then the contract itself. You have to review both to make sure you have the student's interest in mind. And I would just also like to point out that in the past couple of committee meetings you all may have had for facilities and finance and activities, we do have now 9 student representatives to the school board committee meetings, other than myself, because I can't come to every single meeting. One of them is here right now, Kendra Kramer, so she will be here. And I just really want to make sure that during those meetings, the students are coming to them, they should be, and also that during the meetings, if they have any questions about it, because I know sometimes it's a little dizzying, we're not all quite sure what's going on. And this allows me to address the whole school board right now about that. So I really appreciate that opportunity again. It's definitely something we're trying to improve from previous years. Student representation to all of you, and I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Please, I want to make one comment, and that is, I think it was last board meeting, we had 2 or 3 student representatives sitting here. And unfortunately, they heard some muttered comments from the audience that were highly inappropriate. Now, I'm a fairly earthy guy, and I have to watch it when I come in here. because I use salty language, and I should not. These students should not be hearing that from the audience at all, or from the board. And I just want to say, please, really be careful. You're making an impact on these kids that we should not have, especially in this room. Thank you very much. Joe?
Yes, our house is sold and we're moving to Florida or Texas depending on what my wife decides. So I wanted you to know that, I want everybody to know that, and that's turning in my resignation as a result of the lies Mr. Cranford has propagated.
Well, Joe, we wish you all the luck in the world. And where did you say, Texas or where?
Dallas.
No, you said Texas or something else.
Or Florida.
Florida.
If
I would go for Texas.
She intends to move to Texas, then we'll go there.
Thank you.
Can we have some clarifications, for instance, the young lady, as to whether or not she should sit at the table and, you know, what the role
I
is?
actually, I think I know the answer to this. I talked with Dr. Bavard before I came to my first meeting specifically. I think having a seat with the school board is like right up here with you, is a little more contested. So I believe that I'm allowed to sit right here.
Sandy, we'll take a look at that. Fair enough.
That is quite fine. I'm good either way. I either sit in the front or I
We
sit in the
appreciate
back.
you. I want to thank you for picking up those things. That's good.
Thank you very much.
Okay, any other comments or questions? Okay, with that, we're going to call this.